me 'cause I'm weary, deep down in my bones. Look out, now I'm weary, and my heart is made of stone. I've been chained up so long now, Lord, please let me go home. My God made me weary, hang my head in shame. God help me, I'm weary, and I've got no one to blame. There's blood on my hands, Lord help me understand why I'm weary, why I'm weary, why I'm weary, why I'm weary, why I'm weary. Watch me 'cause I'm weary, deep down in my bones. Look out, now I'm weary, and my heart is made of stones. I've been chained up so long now, Lord, please let me go home. Life is not supposed to be easy. A lesson I learned a little late. I never imagined I'd find him, but he had already set my fate. The road that I am walking was the way it had to be. Lord, He's got me talking. Prison set me free. Hey, prison set me free. The world says that I'm locked up, bound by fences and chains. My life has been outcast, but you'll never hear me complain. The road that I am walking was the way it had to be. Lord, He's got me talking. Prison set me free. Hey, prison set me free. My friends don't fret or cry. what a beautiful crowd. My name is Jennifer Jackson, and I am the Executive Director of Interfaith Prison Ministry for Women, or as we like to call ourselves, IPMW for short. And I have the privilege of welcoming all of you here, and this is an amazingly full house. And I hope it worked. Our folks who may be watching us on Facebook Live, we're trying that for the first time tonight. As I know that you can hear, we are in for a special treat this evening. And this is a really special event and evening for all of us, but in particular for the women whose work is featured in this concert. So one more time. Dive into story and song. I just want to tell you a little bit about Interfaith Prison Ministry for Women. And our values are actually found in our name. So why prison ministry? Well, truthfully, we consider it an imperative. It is a spiritual imperative, an emotional imperative, it's a moral and an ethical imperative. It's an economic and a societal imperative. Last year, over 2.2 million people were housed in U.S. prisons and jails. That is up over 500% since the mid-70s, when the numbers were more in the 300,000 range. And as a result of this, monies that used to go for rehabilitation got diverted to housing this many people. And so it fell to the community, and in particular, the faith community, to fill in gaps. But the work is not done. Recidivism rates are still really high. And so again, there is an imperative for this work. And then from a faith perspective, this work is all about forgiveness. It's about mercy and compassion. It's about loving kindness. It's about the golden rule. It's about the circle of life, all of those things that make up a human life. And it really is the work of spiritual warriors. So why women? Well, even as large and as high as those numbers are, incarceration rates have actually been falling pretty steadily over the last 5 to 6 years for every group except for one. Can you guess which one? Women. Right. And because women are only 7% of the overall prison population, women are generally overlooked. The criminal justice system tends to divert programs, research, programs and services, and access, voice to men and to the general population, not to women in particular. And women are in prison for very different and unique reasons. And they respond to different kinds of treatment when they are in prison. And if we break it down even another level, women are the heart and soul of our world. Women are the birthers of every single human being that walks on this earth. And women's empowerment equals human empowerment. And data shows, in terms of trickle down, investments made in women trickle down to children, trickle down to families, trickle down to communities. So we cannot afford as a society to turn a blind eye when women are in their greatest time of need. And finally, why interfaith? Well, actually, Interfaith Prison Ministry for Women was born from the Presbyterian Church. So we were previously known as Presbyterian Prison Ministry. We still embrace that, and we have evolved to embrace an inclusive interfaith perspective as well. And it's one that's based in chaplaincy. And chaplaincy is ministry in secular settings. It is work that takes place regardless of a person's faith, regardless of a person's beliefs. And in the state of North Carolina, there are 16 recognized religions that our chaplains honor and serve. This takes a great deal of skill, and it takes a great deal of humility. So our approach means striving to meet the spiritual, the psychological, the emotional, and practical needs of women, where they are, without judgment, regardless of their tradition, and whether or not they have a tradition at all. So this allows us to have to throw back with a down-home revival like we're going to have tonight, and tomorrow it might mean honoring completely different kind of belief and faith and tradition. And so with that, I would like to bring up to the stage my colleagues, Sarah Jo, Chaplain Jo, and Susanna Long, who are the conceivers of this event tonight. And they're going to guide us through this musical experience. But I just ask you all to just kind of get yourself comfortable and sit back and get ready to be blown away. And really be blown away by the strength of our sisters as lifted up in song. So thank you.
As Jennifer said, my name is Susanna Long. I wanted to say a word about how the songwriting class came to be at NCCIW and how we came to be here this evening. A few years ago, I was in divinity school at Duke with my friend and bandmate Michael Connor, who's back there on the bass. And we were both taking classes through something called Project Turn, which is a program that takes graduate level courses into prisons and open classes that incarcerated and unincarcerated classmates. And Michael and I realized that these became not only our favorite spaces for academics and our favorite spaces for theology, but also places where we were meeting true and dear friends and having some profound experiences that we wanted to share with other people, and we wanted to keep coming back when classes were over. And so he and I started leading worship on occasion on Sunday evenings at the Home Center at NCCIW. And it was there that we realized it is really hard to find a song in a hymnal or in the contemporary Christian canon that is appropriate to sing in a prison. It didn't seem like the experiences of these women or these incarcerated people was really being talked about. Like it didn't exist. And so Mike and I thought, what are the ways that this congregation, what are the songs this congregation needs to be singing, but also what are the things that we're missing out on in our unincarcerated congregations? Because those songs are not coming out into the community. And so he and I got together with Chaplain Jo and worked on a grant through the Calvin Institute for Christian Worship, which has kind of led us to this place where we're in the middle of the concert series.
So when Susanna brought me the idea that we might take some time in the Hope Center to start learning how to write songs and write some songs and maybe even get those songs out on the road, I could not have been more excited. And the reason was that prison, one of the hardships of working there, is that I am very aware of how some of the depths of people get silenced and separated away from some of the depths of the rest of us. And one of the beautiful things about music is that it travels just as loud as we can sing it. Music cannot be barred in, cannot be walled in. If you learn someone's song, you can sing that song wherever you are until you die. Music has the ability to travel. But music also has the ability to catch the depths of a person. As I learned, I was not a songwriter, but as I learned last summer, when you write a song, you put your heart and soul into it. There's just no way around it. And so these songs hold the depths of the folks in that songwriting workshop, the deep wisdom, the deep truth, the deep hurt and pain, the deep joy. And I think that one of the gifts we have tonight is the experience that deep calls to deep. Deep calls to deep. And I hope that in this time you will be able to open the depths of yourself up to receive the depths of the songs coming from North Carolina Correctional Institute for Women. We have one more great gift in the house tonight, and that is that on this kickoff of a concert series, this kickoff event of singing a new song, we have 6 of the members of our original songwriting cohort in the house with us. And so if you are one of those 6, I invite you to stand and wave.
following a class that had a Bible study in it, and we were reading about some really amazing women in the Bible, and I thought, man, we sure don't sing about them in hymns ever. So this song is called God of Every Daughter, and I'll teach you the chorus so that when we get back around there, if you'd like to sing along, you are sure welcome to do that. Mostly because you're talking while the teacher's talking. But one of the things that we got to learn about each other was about one another's experience, and I think those of us who have not been incarcerated walk into prison with some assumptions about how someone gets there. And that was probably the biggest illusion that I had shattered for me was some of the ways that women get to prison and how often it is directly linked to a history of domestic violence. And that is another thing that we do not much talk about.
This is a testimony from Regina Bridges. My name is Regina Bridges, and I have suffered and survived years of sexual and domestic abuse. I am now incarcerated for the murder of my last abuser, doing a 15-year and 8-month minimum sentence. Though I am in a physical prison, I am a free woman. At age 9, I was raped by a close family member. Age 10, another. By age 13, I had been molested by 3 family members and 1 family friend. This caused me to become withdrawn and taught me how to master imagination and pretend. I started running away from home, hurting the ones who loved me most. I was an only child, a daddy's girl, but they never knew the anguish I was feeling. My childhood abuse led me to choosing men who physically abused me, and eventually led to my incarceration. I did not know my value or my worth. I didn't know I deserved better than the abuse I was receiving. So I continued in this cycle. Some believe that if an abused woman really wanted to get away, she should just leave. However, that is not always possible. I did leave. Even went to shelters, got a job at a place on my own, only to come home and find him in my house. In my sick state of failure, worthlessness, fear, hopelessness, and misery, I committed what I'm here for now. But I am glad to see that today I know my value and my worth. Just as every single one of you must know your value and allow no one to disrespect, put you down, or use you. This next song is about how Jesus was my answer to abuse. His love blew me away and taught me to love myself. Abuse leads to one of two fates, death or incarceration. And that is exactly how I came to be incarcerated.
When I first met him, made me feel like a queen, like there was no other woman than him. When I first met him, but
name is Kim Stone, and it is my tremendous honor to be an acting young lady board member, and also to be here and to speak on behalf of and to those who cannot speak for themselves tonight. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to say, but I'll start here. When I got the call from Chaplain Jug asking me if I would speak, without hesitation, I was like, yes, I will. It's great, yes. And he said, I'll put something together, I'll send it over to you, you guys look at it, tell me what I need to change. Yes, Chaplain Jug said, thanks so much. You know. So I was in my car driving home. When I got home, phone call was over, and then my it showed up. My it showed up and said, what did you just do? What did you do? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to speak to these women? Speak on their behalf. Those are great, right? Thank God I'm in therapy. I'm still in therapy. And thank goodness that there is a God and a greater power at work in my life and running the show, because I would have bailed out. Aside from therapy, which is for real, I'm in therapy, I also do daily meditations, and I've been reading stuff to try to help me be a better person than I was yesterday. And I've been recently reading and listening to Dr. Brene Brown, and she's done a lot of research and work on my it, which is called vulnerability, and vulnerability being tied to shame. So that's where my questions came from. That's why I asked myself, what are you doing? Don't have anybody who you think you are. That's tied to my vulnerability. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this, but in Dr. Brown's work, she talks about the negative connotations of vulnerability being associated with weakness. But it's also the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And these beautiful, wonderfully talented, courageous ladies are perfect examples of that assertion. Their ability to look into their own vulnerability and face their demons has created these magnificent stories, these works of art. So that is why when my it showed up, I had to find a way to quiet that demon and to face my own fear. Because for the women who can't be up here right now, my purpose is to stand in your place, stand in the gap for you, and give this room another glimpse of your heart and your voice. Because I too know what it's like to be on the inside, to feel like a complete failure. I know what it's like to wake up in the middle of the night, or not being able to sleep in the middle of the night, in a room with other women who are just as broken as I am. I know the struggle that exists in prison just to get up sometimes, to push on and go one more day. I understand the courage that it takes to lean into that pain and face your own demons. And I totally buy into the profound healing that comes when you can reach inside and grab that stuff and you pour it out, spill it out on a sheet of paper and share with the world, or just yourself. So ladies, I applaud you. You are a divine creation. Continue to be vulnerable. Continue to be courageous. And I, as a board member, and as someone who's walked in your shoes, been where you are, I'm committed to doing whatever I can to share your voice, my voice, for the next person to come on. On behalf of IPMW, I thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And may God continue to richly bless us all on our journey.
This next song came out of Bible studies that we did. We tried to read scripture that does not show up in our hymnals, as I said. And it came to our attention that in church we're really good at celebrating like David and Goliath, but no one had really written a song about Deborah or how Yael dealt with Sisera. So that's how kind of a slew of Deborah and Yael songs came about, and this is one of them.
So at points during the songwriting class, we had a unit on poetry, on lyrics, and we had a unit on music and composition, recognizing that sometimes music, sounds, the relationships between sounds and rhythm, can say things and access places that words cannot. Music can touch deep places, as Chaplain Joe has already shared with us. Which is a good thing, because whether you are a songwriter or a person of faith, neither of those things happen in a vacuum. Whether you consider yourself an artist, a person of faith, or both, you do your craft and you believe your belief as the world keeps spinning and as life keeps throwing unexpected things at you, and you have to continue to improvise, and life will take things from you. Tragedies will happen. You will be afflicted and tried, and you will not always see it coming. You will not always see it coming. We had members of our class who had to field news of loss in the middle of the class. Members who were processing losses that they had been carrying with them for years, or losses that were brand new. It's not foreign to the story of faith for that to be true. I'm a practitioner of the Judeo-Christian story, and so I read about exiles in foreign places who, the one thing they refused to stop doing when they had to go to a foreign land was singing. It was the one thing they said they'd rather die than stop doing. And even next week, we remember, Christ on a cross speaking lyrics to a song. This instrument is a banjo, and it exists only as a product of pain and as a means of healing. It was created by West African slaves, taken from all different parts of the continent, who couldn't always speak to each other, but they could remember what their home sounded like. And so they made this as a way of conjuring it and bringing folks together. We are going to pay tribute to some of the songs that were written during this class, not necessarily as worship songs, but as songs that were helping folks work through grief and loss and aching and wounds. And in that spirit, here is a written testimony from one of our fellow songwriters, Loyanne Probst. They say it is better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. I believe this statement to be true. At the age of 29, I lost my first husband to a motorcycle wreck. And over the next 4 years, I buried my 8-week-old, Nicholas, suffered 2 miscarriages, and gave birth to Alex, a stillborn. I have lost, but my life would not have been complete without these lives that I have loved. What Satan sent to kill and destroy me, and it almost did, God has used to open my eyes to tender love and mercy. Without God, I am nothing. Just as God reminds me that He gives us our children's hands to hold for a short time, we have their hearts forever. And now we will sing.
This is a song by Rebecca Small, and it starts with a prayer. Dear God, I praise you, I love you, I trust you. I lay my life, the lives of my children, and my every possession at the foot of the cross. Thank you for the many undeserved blessings that you have showered upon me. Lord, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. As generous as you have been, I still have one request. On the day you call me home to heaven, when you come to greet me at heaven's gate, will you please bring my son with you? I miss him so much, and I have something of his, and I'd like to give it back to him. He wore 3 crosses that he had made in jail. He wore them so proudly
to march the streets of heaven. Oh, what a precious view. He loved you so much, it showed on his face. I'm so glad my son has claimed your holy grace. He wore 3 crosses that he had made in jail. He wore them so proudly, alone in his cell. No, I'm not ashamed. See, I'm locked up too. Lord, that's where we go, closer to you. Lord, I know you spared my life and sanity, so I could spend the day and sing about your peace. But I thought it would kill me, had surely brought me through, so I could tell the world you're doing for them too. He wore 3 crosses that he had made in jail. He wore them so proudly, alone in his cell. No, I'm not ashamed. See, I'm locked up too. Lord, that's where we go, closer to you. Thank you, Lord, for I know with all my heart's joy that when you come to get me, you'll bring my sweet boy. I still have his 3 crosses, and I cannot wait for the 2 of you to greet me at heaven's gate. Amen.
So as Mike said, we had a classmate who lost her father during the course of the class. And as with all good creative circles, a burden becomes shared and a grief becomes shared. And though we know we can't carry that for people, it was a real honor to get to work with her on this song that was paying tribute to her father and giving voice to what it was that she was going through, being separated from him during the time that he was sick. Loyalty was what I sought, a man who gave his all. walking on the streets of gold in your home. Happily you'll lay at Jesus' feet, and one day soon there we will be, Daddy. Oh,
As Sue shared early on in the program, she and I, when we were at Divinity School, were both taking courses in different prison facilities. I have had the opportunity to work and continue to work with men incarcerated on death row here in Raleigh. And as Susan and I shared about our different experiences, and as always, wrote music together, this is a song that came out of those conversations. So I would like to remember not only the women in our songwriting class, but also the men I have the opportunity to write with every week.
Is this the end of the road? Locked in a box with a tube in your nose, and you can't hear the voices that call you home.
testimony by Veronica Rackley, and she is here tonight. Being in prison is no picnic. Living in tight quarters, dealing with betrayals, lies, selfishness, attitudes, disrespect, bitterness, and anger on a daily basis is certainly no picnic at all. Through all the madness, you either join in or you find a way to press through all the ungratefulness and choose to be different. Choose to rise above the madness and choose joy. To think about all that God has done for me and the many ways He saw me through, and I'm alive to tell about it. I can't help but have joy and praise on my lips. He has delivered me from the traps set by those in prison, which were designed to take me out. But God, He walked me through the fire without getting burned. So I owe Him the praise and the honor. So I can't help but have joy in my heart, knowing that if God be for me, then who can be against me?
So the hope of the class was that songs would walk through walls, and one of the first songs to get out of the prison and have a life of its own was written by Roberta Gilchrist, who's sitting right in front of me here. Her church was having VBS, and so she wrote, set Psalm 100 to music so that the kids could learn it. I have found it a handy memorization tool, so I'm going to try to teach it to all of you. Fair warning, she does it better. So the refrain that you might like to learn, and we'll get back to it, goes, shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Mike's ready. All right, so this is Psalm 100. Love continues, joys forever, it remains in your heart. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, sing of love, sing of joy. My Redeemer reigns on, He sees you through your dark days. He allows His light to shine on, turns your sorrows to praise. I've got to praise His name, I've got to shout for joy, I've got to sing His holy name. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Shout with rejoicing, hallelujah, my Redeemer reigns on. Gotta shout, gotta sing His holy name. We are now going to be joined by Sarah for this next song.
So this next song imagines that Job from the Bible, not to be confused with Job from the Raleigh unit. Imagines that Job, with all of his wisdom and patience, became a prison chaplain. Job lost his patience the first year he worked in that prison. The year that the state took coffee off dining hall trays. Job thought that women shaking sober with memory of bruise after bruise has a right to wrap round a cup when 5 a.m. came. But his friends, they said, honey, when you gone? Job stayed as Christmas turned Easter, turned Pentecost. And listen to stories of death row commuted to life. One Monday, Thursday, as Kate told of how she'd been stripped like him, Job realized these bars and barbed wire look just like God's cross. But his friend still said, honey, when you gonna get out of that prison? Don't you know they said sin and sorrows ain't no help for good men like you. You could be preaching on TV, God knows it's gonna pay so much better than this. God destined heartache for some, sure not. Said I worship the God of sea monsters and the Leviathan. The God who delights in better things, it can't seem to fly. And as long as my God shows up and works in the whirlwind, I'll stay right there, God, by my side, when this time. Don't you know that we worship the God of sea monsters and the Leviathan? A God who delights in feathered things that can't seem to fly. And as long as my God shows up and works in the whirlwind, I'll stay right there, God, by my side, when this time.
Amen.
I hope you all are starting to get a sense of why no matter what the world says, and the world has a whole lot of things to say, a whole lot of things to say about how it's not really worth one's time working in a prison. But I hope you are starting to get a sense of why I think that I have one of the best jobs that there is. Because every time that I go to work, I get to go to work with the women who created this sort of beautiful art and music. I get to go to work with women who are committed to the very core of their being to making a future that is better than the past. Now, do women regret decisions that they made? Sure. I worship in a congregation full of regret, chock full of regret. But what haunts me is that much of the time, even when people can say that they know they made a bad choice, that they regret the decision that they made, they look back on their lives and can't actually figure out exactly what they could have done different. Because the road to prison is marked by very narrow choices. And the work of IPMW, the work that I'm excited to be a part of, is the work of cracking open those possibilities. We believe in investing in women, in teaching, in educating, in singing and clapping and having dance teams and choir and life recovery classes, in bringing in every class that we can manage to get through. We believe in doing that. Because we believe that when you invest in a woman, You crack open the choices that she has available to her. At IPMW, we have been doing that work inside of prison for over 35 years. And in the last 2 years, we've started to catch a vision for how that work needs to go beyond the walls. And we've started working with women post-release, finding ways to walk alongside folks as they re-enter society, even this year, hiring a social worker for the first time to make sure we get that work right. But the work that we're talking about doing is community work. We can't do it alone. We need you. We need the whole Triangle community. We need all of North Carolina. We need people beyond the borders of North Carolina to step in and become a part of this community, a community that catches the vision of the songs that you're hearing here tonight. And in just a few more songs, you're going to be asked to become a part of that community. And you're going to be asked to do that through giving, and I hope you will give. And you're also going to be asked to do that by finding ways after this show is over to come on into the inside. Join up with us. Come see the Hope Center. Find a way to be involved. So when we pass those hats, I hope that you will give so that this sort of work can continue.
This is a testimony from Linda Turnage, and she is here with us tonight. I'm honored to read this. Before coming to prison, I had rededicated my life to Christ. I was an evangelist in the church, and I preached the word whenever the opportunity arose. Now, I have always been very independent, and I didn't like to ask for help. I was living on disability after a car accident that left me with 2 bones broken in my back. Someone told me I could support myself by selling my prescription drugs. I didn't like to take them myself. Eventually, someone turned me in so they could avoid a prison sentence. And I ended up with 5 to 7 years. In prison, I'm away from my home and my family. Friends are few, family is distant. I can feel like I've lost everything. But God is the one I can depend on, the one I have had to depend on. The Spirit is there to lead and guide us into all His righteousness. He will not leave or forsake me. While I've been in NCCIW, I knew I couldn't just depend on myself. I started to go to all the activities at the Hope Center that I could. When this Sing a New Song class was advertised, I wanted to go because I felt that I had a story to tell. And I could tell it through song. This class and other classes at the Hope Center make you feel like you're part of the outside world. It breaks up the daily turmoil of prison life. These classes helped me awaken the Spirit in me and made me more responsive to God. Now I know that God is calling me to do kingdom work. The word says, many are called, but few are chosen. I'm thankful that I am a chosen vessel. That all I need to do is follow His command.
And now we're going to sing you that song by
Follow His command. Where is everyone I meet in the worst time of my life? When I'm sitting bound in jail, a widow left in strife. I know that there's a God, of course, who stood right by my side. Yet I'm not the daughter who will take it all in stride. So now I've reached a point in life where I learned to say, my so-called friends walked out on me, that's the price I had to pay. They don't know me now, that I'm not ashamed to show my face, but I know there's a God on high that keeps my soul in place. not to put your trust in men, he'll surely let you down. And the devil's always lurking near to keep your whole life bound. God, I know you love me and you'll always be right there. But the things I've done in my past today I wouldn't dare. So I'm calling on you, Jesus, to take me by the hand. As I'm walking down that lonely road, I'll follow your command.
All right, and this next song is by Veronica, who's also here. To give you a good idea of what Veronica's like. Sing to the Lord as long as I live, I will praise His holy name. As long as I live, I will praise His holy name. He is worthy, worthy, worthy to be praised. He is worthy to be praised. Now come to our God for all that He has done. Glory and honor to our God for all that He has done. He is worthy, so worthy to be praised. He is worthy, so worthy to be praised. The Lord is your God, and who your ways, and the King in death. The Lord is your God, and worthy to be praised. He is worthy to be praised.
It is time to pass the hats. And so I want to invite up Jennifer Jackson and our board president, Ron Acock. We're going to say just a word to you about where your money will go if you decide to put some of it in these chapeaux.
Yes, yes, yes. Are you all enjoying yourselves? One of the things that we grapple with all the time is how to bring the prison to people. So we can talk about it all we want, but it is once people come inside the walls that they experience what we have brilliantly been able, our staff has brilliantly been able to recreate here. And there's no way that you couldn't be moved. And there's no way that we don't want you to be a part of this movement and this work. So like all nonprofits, we rely on the public trust. Over 50% of our funding comes from individuals like you. And the other half comes from a few wonderful foundations and churches and presbyteries. So a couple of years ago, in 2015, we were the recipient of a matching grant. And it allowed us to double our support of these. Last year, another challenge grant allowed us to double it again. So we're on a roll. IPMW is growing. And as Chaplain Job said, as Sarah said, the chaplaincy work that is at the core of this work, well, we're being asked every day by the women we work with to help on the outside, to do more. And we want to say yes to that. And so we this year, again, are blessedly the recipients of a challenge grant, a $35,000 challenge grant. We have between now and June 30th to raise this amount of money. Now, if we don't raise it, it's not a partial kind of thing. We got to raise the $35,000 in order to receive the same amount. And this work, and last year, the challenge grant allowed us to hire, very recently, our first transition and re-entry specialist. So we are stepping up to the need even before we have 100% the money in the doors, right? So that's why we are asking you to join with us, because our challenge grant in 2017 is going to reinforce that work, reinforce the chaplaincy work that makes this evening possible, and also mentoring and outreach, which is another very vital need. And I just want to say one really quick word about the mentoring. The women who are here who wrote songs are here because someone sponsored them to come outside the walls. We need more people like that. So I'm about to make a financial ask, but we also have an ask for volunteers, and there's going to be time to talk a little bit more with staff and women after the performance about that. But back to the financial ask. Challenges. Challenges are fun, right? Anybody here listen to NPR? Right? Okay, so you know about challenges. Challenges allow nonprofits to grow. And they're fun. They're creative. They require partnership and participation. They allow us to set a really high bar and then reach out to all of you to help us meet it. So I'm going to pass these over to an actual volunteer, our board president, say a few words about why he is giving and why he gives.
And let me tell you, as a lawyer coming behind two preachers, that's not very easy. As a member of this board, and now as president, I've developed a great respect for the work of the board, the staff, and all the volunteers. The dedication is absolutely amazing. Their dedication is there, their work is there, because they want to aid women such as these, and many, many more. They aid those women in their journey of transition. You've heard some of the stories and songs of that journey today. Tonight. Songs of their journey which tell why they went to prison, how it was inside, how they dealt with those frustrations inside, and then how they transitioned to joy and praise. That's what we're about, helping them transition to joy and praise. I know the story of how these women had their foundations of life crumbled, how they stumbled, and then how they tumbled into a life of despair, anger, self-loathing, and crime. And through this program, how they are rebuilding those foundations. through rediscovery of hope, self-awareness, and development of coping skills and life skills. And underlying this growth is an underpinning of real spiritual rebirth. You've heard that story and those songs tonight. Now, they were lifted up spiritually. This program helps them get there. When I learned of the work of this program, I knew that I needed to offer my time and skills to this program. I also realized that it takes more than my time and skills. It also takes my money.
Preach it, Ron.
It takes my money to help build those foundations of spiritual depth, hope, and life skills. And just like building physical foundations, those foundations require money. I give to help build that foundation, to help the women put their lives back together again. Now, I invite you to join with me in giving. When the hats, baskets come around, there'll be more than just sailors, but if you want to go far, they'll be there. When those hats come around, help us fill them up so we can continue to build the foundations upon which this program flourishes and these women move forward with their lives. Where is your hat?
Stand up. We're going to pass them around. You can put big bills, little bills, change, checks, and I'm going to be holding up the sign in a minute because you can give with your cell phone. And for all of you on Facebook Live, press the donate button. All right.
Thank you.
say goodnight.
Broken child found not breathing, mother overcome with feeling, family stares on unbelieving, the devil all along deceiving, griever turn believer, hearts on fire for my Redeemer. Griever turn believer, I'm not bound by the deceiver. Finding hope in the midst of griever with tears like rain, running on the window pane.
And one thing I so appreciate in your work and your approach is you can see how reciprocal it is, right? This work is not one direction, and I don't ever want you all to think that in any way this is one directional work. It is mutual, it is reciprocal, it is even, it is level, it is clear. And so tonight is a blessed occasion. We are so grateful that you all were here. We are so grateful that those of you, I checked my Facebook feed and it looks like it's live on there. And we didn't mention that there is a donate button on IPOW's Facebook page. So we want to involve you in the passing of the hat as well. But we have a lot of people to thank for making this vision a reality. And most of them are listed in the program. So I do want you to take a look at that and help me to thanks goes to the 8 women who wrote songs, 3 of whom are here today, and I'm so happy to be looking at your faces. Yeah. We are humbled and we give you our thanks. Sincere thanks to Suze and Sarah for the vision. Mike for offering the songwriting class. To all the participants on the program tonight, Kim and Ron and the band, the rest of the band. I want to give a shout out to Casey Stanton on our staff. Without her, this would not have happened. Her tenacity and passion and organizing skills made this a joy from beginning to end. To our board, our staff, and I just want our staff to, I want to lift up our staff for a moment. We have a very small and committed staff, so we have Chaplain Brazil, we have Maria Rao, we have Casey, we have Sarah, and we want to give a big thanks to Kate, who is not here with us, but we give her a wave, and to our Raleigh Little Theater. They were so generous and helpful, and this space has been magnificent for this occasion. To all of those many incarcerated and formerly incarcerated individuals whose voices and stories are not heard, we keep you in our prayers. And to all of you, so the evening is not over. We invite you to go out. We have a complimentary reception. We have people around who have walked this journey and who work with people who walk this journey to answer questions that you might have, to share with you some of our experiences. So we hope that you will mingle with us out there. We thank you to all of the Facebook folks who are joining us, and we thank you for your interest, for your time. We thank you for your support. Take care, be well, and safe travels home.